Jennifer from the Worcester branch of the Wayne County Public Library, and it's that most wonderful time of year again. Time to talk about holiday romances. You know there are always going to be a few authors you can count on to publish a new Christmas romance each year, Debbie Macomber and Sheila Roberts being among them. But this year I'd like to feature some different authors. One of last year's Christmas romances, Christmas in Rose Bend by Naima Simone, takes the reader to a cozy family-run inn in the Berkshires. ER nurse Nessa Hunt is still grieving her mother's death and still angry that her mother's deathbed confession revealed that Nessa's father, who has also recently died, wasn't really her father. She has traveled to Rose Bend with her half-sister Ivy to try and find some answers. But she has to juggle that quest with Ivy's sullenness, the overwhelming Christmas festivities in town, and an undeniable attraction to the innkeeper's ruggedly handsome son, Wolf Dennison. Nessa's got a lot of emotional baggage in tow, but she's not the only one. Wolf hesitates to act on the attraction too because he knows Nessa is in town for a limited time before she heads back to the big city, and he's had his heart broken before by a woman who couldn't stay in Rose Bend. But as Wolf helps Nessa open up to the holiday season and to track down her birth father, the two of them find it more and more difficult to resist the heat between them. This second book in the Rose Bend series has a lot to love. Small-town coziness, especially at the holidays, loving, if sometimes challenging, family dynamics, and two main characters who have big hearts but are hesitant to trust and overcome past hurts. And if you like your romance steamy, this is sure to please. You can find the book through CleveNet, the ebook through Overdrive, and the e-audiobook through both Overdrive and Hogle. Another treasure from last year is the short and sweet The Mistletoe Motive by Chloe Liese. Gabriella Di Natale loves working at Bailey's Bookshop, the city's most loved independent bookstore, and she loves Christmas. She's happy to decorate the bookstore and turn up the festive spirit for the customers. But she has to deal with the bah humbug spirit of her co-worker, Jonathan Frost. Unfortunately, this Christmas might be Gabby's last at the bookstore. The shop owners admit that the financial situation is looking dire, and they might have to cut a position to keep the store open. Neither Gabby nor Jonathan is willing to give up their positions, so they make a deal. Whoever has more sales in the few weeks leading up to Christmas will get to stay on. Gabby's sure she knows how to win over new customers and send sales skyrocketing. But every time she tries something new, Jonathan seems to have his own plan to boost the budget. Gabby's frustrated. And to top it off, the anonymous online friend who brightens her day with his conversation has decided to take a break. And Gabby's sneaky ex tries to pop back into her life for some pretty shady reasons. But as the pressure mounts to make this the best Christmas ever at Bailey's, Gabby learns that the cold Mr. Frost has a warmer side than she ever thought possible. This Christmas novella, coming in at under 200 pages, is a light and quick read that should please book and bookstore lovers. The grumpy sunshine pairing of these two main characters provides the sparks needed to bring them together and to help them reveal how their characters complement each other. There's also a wonderful little reveal, and you might see it coming, that adds another layer to their relationship for a satisfying ending. This one is only available on Overdrive in both ebook and e-audio formats, but it's worth checking out. If you're looking for a chaotic rom-com with queer characters for the holidays, you'll enjoy Kiss Her Once for Me by Alison Cochrun. Last Christmas, Ellie Oliver spent a memorable snowy Christmas Eve with Jack, a beautiful stranger who saw Ellie in all her messiness and gave her laughter and affection and an amazing night. Yet once Christmas Day arrived, everything fell apart. This Christmas, Ellie is floundering. After being fired from her dream job, she struggles to make ends meet as a barista. She fails to get the assistant manager position she'd hoped for. Her rent is going way up, and her feckless mother has called up asking for money yet again. So when the cafe building's owner, Andrew Kim Prescott, takes Ellie out for drinks and explains that his recently deceased grandfather left him $2 million that he can only receive if he marries, she drunkenly agrees to marry him as a short-term contract with a payout that will help her get back on her feet. Part of Andrew and Ellie's deal is spending the holidays with Andrew's family at their cabin in the mountains. Since Ellie has never been able to rely on her own family for anything, let alone a holiday celebration, she agrees and hopes for a pleasant holiday, until she discovers that Andrew's sister Jacqueline is her very own Jack from last Christmas. With a setup like this, you know you're in for a train wreck of emotions, secrets, and not so neatly hidden lust. Ellie is a relatable hot mess of a character. Dealing with indifferent and neglectful parents has led her to aim for perfection, and that combines with a fear of failure that leaves her stuck, blocking her own path to happiness. Jack comes across as perfect in Ellie's eyes, but her messiness comes from not believing that she's anything more than the family screw-up. The side characters really give the book its color and joy, though. Ellie's best friend Meredith and barista friend Ari offer advice and total support. Andrew appears first as a suave rich guy who will probably get everything he wants in life, but he turns out to be messy and complicated and unwilling to admit what he really wants. And look out for Mima and Lovey, the most bonkers grandmothers on the planet. This book will be available through CleveNet. Another chaotic rom-com for the holiday season is Just Like Magic by Sarah Hogle. Betty Hughes has had a really rough year. As an influencer from a wealthy family, she's used to living the good life and mingling with celebrities. But after a public breakup with her fan-favorite boyfriend and multiple shady deals leaving her broke, she is really not looking forward to visiting her prickly family for the holidays and trying to live up to their unreasonable expectations. In a fit of self-pity and drunkenness one night, she puts a Mariah Carey Christmas album on her record player, spills wine on it, accidentally plays it backwards, and conjures up the holiday spirit embodied in a seriously good-looking man. Hall, as this spirit calls himself, tells her that he has arrived to fill her with the holiday spirit and to use his magic to grant her wishes. Betty's initial demands are driven by her belief that only by returning to her high-flying ways will she be able to face her family with any kind of pride this Christmas. She also wants revenge on the ex-boyfriend and assorted gossips who have made her life miserable. But the magic is sometimes finicky and won't let her harm anyone. Loaded up with fabulous magic-conjured presents and a handsome fake boyfriend, Hall, on her arm, Betty decides to join her family for the festivities. And though she's determined to make her mark on her family once and for all, Hall is equally determined to show Betty the true meaning of Christmas. The characters in this holiday romance are completely over the top, starting off almost as caricatures. Betty is a spoiled little rich girl you might not like. But Hall's sweet naivete and steady core show Betty that there's something more to life than acquiring fame and fortune and one-upping the others in her family. The reader gradually develops more empathy for Betty once her family members appear on the page. There's a lot of drama and trauma to wade through, but Betty does find herself recognizing some of those problems and learning to grow out of old patterns. Other characters find the chance to grow as well, so don't expect that you'll hate all of them forever. The story is a wild ride, highly unbelievable at times, but fast-paced and fascinating if you can sit back and appreciate how intentionally bonkers the author has made this book. There's a strong Hallmark vibe throughout the story, only laced with spiked eggnog and the wackiness turned up to 11. It's silly and sweet and occasionally punchable, and it certainly puts a new twist on holiday traditions. Since this book comes out later in October, you'll want to place a hold for it in CleveNet and hopefully find it later on in Overdrive. Finally, for all of the heartwarming feels, you might want to pick up Dreaming of a Heart Lake Christmas by Sarah Robinson. There's no place like home for the holidays, even though Magnolia, or Nola, Bennett, believes it will be her last Christmas in Heart Lake, Michigan. Though she grew up in this small town, she always had big dreams of the big city. And now that she has a high-powered consulting job in Chicago and plans to start her own business, she intends to sell the big house, or the castle, that her grandmother Gigi left her in her will so that she has the necessary startup funds. The trouble is, her best friend Rosie thinks Nola should return to Heart Lake for good, keep the castle, and start her business in town so she can be close to friends and her beloved godchildren. Rosie's brother Tanner, Nola's high school crush, disapproves of her selling the castle in favor of a new condo development. But then they've always argued, right? Being back home brings back many happy memories for Nola, and the Christmas season has a way of revealing what's truly important in life. This holiday romance hits all the feel-good holiday tropes. City girl returning home to the small town, high school crushes, quote-unquote enemies to lovers, best friend's brother, and that perfect Christmas gift trope of being snowed in. You know from the get-go that you're going to get a heartwarming, happy ending, and this book gets you there in an irresistibly charming way. Nola and Tanner are comfortable, likable characters who share a caring nature, and you can't help but agree with Rosie that these two should just get together already. It's a solid, quick read that gives you all the holiday warm and fuzzies. Again, this is a brand new book coming out sometime in October, so look for it in CleveNet, place your hold early, and hopefully it will also be out in Overdrive as an ebook and e-audiobook. In the meantime, happy reading, your holiday happy ever afters.